And I get started here. All right. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining our webinar today on Share and Perform. We really appreciate you guys being here. And we will go ahead and get started. This will be recorded. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, concerns, please let us know. And then I will go ahead and get started. Maybe if I can get this in. There we go. I'm having some technical difficulties today, so bear with me. All right, let's get started. Okay, so our agenda for today is that you're going to be able to meet your presenters. We're going to go through an overview of Share and Perform. And then after that, we're going to go through a nice demo of what Share and Perform looks like, all of the capabilities, features, functionalities. And then at the very end, we're going to have some time for some Q&A. So as you have questions as we go through, the demonstration or even the overview, if you do have questions, please make sure that you're putting those in the chat. So then that way at the very end that we can make sure that we get towards all of your questions. All right, so your presenters today, you have myself. My name's Amber Vernew. I'm an iSelf account manager. And then we also have on the phone with us today the lovely Arletta Mills, and she is one of our iSelf Solutions consultants. She's kind of our know-all, do-all as far as everything iSelf. So I'm happy to have her here with us today. All right, so just a couple of things we like to go through as far as an overview and some statistics and things like that we notice that comes along with, especially like a performance management system, is that, many organizations are really actually realizing that they need a performance management, that some things are no longer suitable for like their workforce dynamic. Our workforce dynamic this day and age just seems to be changing. It's very changing rapidly. And so, having a performance management that approaches and handles the needs that you're actually needing for your workforce dynamic is very important. And I say that because 26 employees very much strongly agree that their performance reviews are fair. And so you want to make sure that that number is actually increasing. Think about that. That's only a quarter of your, employees that are actually feeling like their performance reviews are fair. And a lot of that comes along with probably the overall, what's what I'm looking for? Software that maybe you're using, having a really good, performance management program can also be very effective in how you're tracking your employees' performance, making sure that, your employees are productive, and being able to report those higher productivity numbers really helps with your bottom line. So being able to have that performance management in place can be very helpful and very beneficial. As far as our solution goes, one thing we always kind of just like to make sure is that, with a solution, whether with our share and our performance, it really helps your employees stay connected. And so with the Share and Perform module, you're able to utilize the share piece as kind of almost like a company intranet, right? So that way your employees can actually share ideas with each other. They can seek some feedback. And they can also collaborate with each other. And so you can have like a wall feed that shows like whether it's, inside a specific department or company-wide, and you can celebrate things, right? Whether it's a birthday or an anniversary, or, if you have employees that are maybe coming across some roadblocks that they need help with, that other employees within the company have maybe faced those same roadblocks, they can actually collaborate with each other on how to get past those roadblocks. So being able to have kind of something like that where your employees are able to keep interactive with each other is very, very important, especially because our work life is so different now these days and age, right? Not everybody comes into an office, and sometimes maybe not everybody comes into an office 5 days a week. Maybe you have a hybrid model where some employees can work from home certain days of the week and then they come into the office. Or even if you do have employees that are in the office 5 days a week, Being able to stay productive but engage with each other is very, very important to your corporate culture and your employees this day and age. So that is definitely one thing that you can do with our share and perform module, is make sure that you really help your employees stay engaged with each other and be able to communicate and you know and leverage that's built into our engagement and our performance modules. All right, some key features as far as our share and perform module is that you are able to kind of personalize your dashboard. So you can actually go in and personalize what your dashboard looks like, um, and how you kind of want it to look and function. We also have some 360 performance reviews and feedback. So we use this at iSolved, and I really like it because then you are able to get some feedback from other departments, other employees on, how that overall employee is, working and functioning with inside your work culture. Supervisors can roll back and change the log if they need to. There is that feed wall again within the performance side. We do have some goal setting and monitoring. So that is actually also a really great thing when it comes to the performance piece, right? Is that you're able to set those goals with your employees during their performance as far as maybe what their goals are or what their goals need to be for the next year. And then you can actually do a check-in and monitor those goals to see how the employee is trending throughout the year. And then the employee can also see, how am I doing with my goals? Am I meeting my goals? Am I exceeding my goals? Or are there other things that maybe I need to be doing better to get to my goal? And work with their supervisor as well. So that's a really good thing as far as being able to, monitor their own goals along with their supervisors. We do have the reward and recognition tools. And then there's also an option for an employee reward store if it's something that you choose to do for your employees. Let's face it, like everybody loves, being able to get stuff, buy stuff, whether it's company swag or even just like a gift card. So that employee store is pretty awesome. I think it's really, really super helpful to kind of keep your employees excited about things like, oh, if I do this, I can get maybe some points or some money to be able to, buy some things that reside within that store. All right, and then just some key benefits as far as having a share and perform solution within inside iSolved is it really does create that company culture, right? Because again, your employees are being able to connect with each other, they're able to collaborate with each other. And when your employees are feeling engaged with the company and the culture and other employees with inside the organization, it really kind of brings up the morale and it keeps the morale going. You'll find that your employees are happier ultimately at the end of the day. It does, make it easy for them to connect, and collaborate with everybody across the entire organization. And then it also increases that engagement. And with the rewards and recognition opportunities, again, right, everybody likes being able to be rewarded and they like to be recognized. And whether it's with the employee store or just overall, being able to be recognized like, hey, you made it to your 5-year mark and everybody else within the company is, collaborating and recognizing that individual employee, or, maybe they did something really great that, you want to recognize throughout the entire company. So those are some really good things as far as, keeping your company culture meaningful for your employees. And then also being able to effectively align their goals and their performance with the company purpose. So meaning, like we kind of talked on that previous, like being able to, your employees being able to understand what their goals are, being able to check in on those goals throughout the entire year. Because with that, you're empowering your employees to be able to say, okay, like maybe I'm doing a great job and I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, or I'm not meeting my goals. And so what do I need to do better? And so have your employees being able to be empowered that way also really keeps them happy, right? Because then they're feeling like I get to see everything that I'm doing and how my performance is going throughout the year. Nothing's worse than, not being able to see that. And then your performance review comes up next year and it's like, oh, you didn't meet this goal and this goal and this goal, but you met this goal and you exceeded this goal. And then the employees kind of almost are like, well, gosh, I didn't realize I wasn't hitting my goals. And so having that empowerment is really powerful for employees this day and age to be able to have that performance tool to keep that data and, really provide that insight for them. All right, at this point in time, I'm going to pass the baton over to Arletta. Again, she's going to go through a really nice demonstration for you guys to be able to see all the things Sharon perform, what it looks like, and then just kind of really do a better job probably at explaining all of the key features and benefits within Sharon perform. But also keep in mind too, again, if you do have questions, please make sure that you put them in the chat so that we can 100% make sure we get to everybody's questions at the end of Arletta's demonstration.
All right, perfect. Well, let me go ahead and I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we're going to actually go through this maybe a little bit different than what you expected, because one of the big things about iSoft is I want you to be able to see the power of iSoft. So I'm actually starting on our administrative side of the solution, and I'm in our job tab. So if we're in employee management, employee maintenance, and under jobs, and you're probably all really familiar with this. But what I want you to see is this job title right here, this job summary, job description, and this supervisor right here. So when we're talking about performance reviews, this information is automatically connected to the performance reviews. Why is that a big deal? Because what I can do when we set up performance reviews is we can create job summaries, job descriptions here. Then we can tie competencies to each job. So you'll have core competencies you look at for everybody, and then those job specific competencies. So now as I'm promoting my employee through the company, as I'm moving them from job to job, their performance review actually moves with them. And you'll always know that this is an active supervisor. So the active supervisor that they're currently working with is the one that's going to automatically get assigned that performance review. So I just want you to see that power, really reducing that administrative burden off of you. It's not that you're promoting somebody and then performance reviews come up and we got to go make sure everybody got the right performance review assigned and whose supervisor is it going to. iSoft really alleviates that administrative burden off of you. So keep that in mind as we go through this demonstration. Now we're going to jump over here to our employee self-service. This is Mark Adams. Of course, this is one-stop shop for your employees. This is where they come and see their paycheck stubs, their W-2s, any messages. Maybe they're asking for time off, their benefit administration, and then right down here at the bottom is our share and perform button. So again, it's that one-stop shop for your employees to go in and effectively communicate with their coworkers, but also do their performance reviews. So let's hit that and jump in here. Now, where I've landed here is on our bulletin board, and I'll age myself a little bit, but I'm old enough to remember when HR had a cork board outside of their door, and they had those posters out there, right? What we've done is we've taken that cork board and we've turned it electronic. So this is your bulletin board where you can put messages out to your employees. You can move these around. We do have a CEO corner. We like to know what our CEO is out there talking about. A lot of times he will actually attach articles or interviews that he's doing, so we know what he's talking about. And we got some biometric screenings here. There is also a library here. So, whoops, I always hit the wrong button. So if you are looking for one place for your employees to go and look at their forms and all of that information, we can create that library. Now I'm going to click on this feed wall, and the feed wall is that crowdsourcing. So I want you to think about all of your employees. I have been with iSoft for a long time, so I probably have some knowledge that the newer employees don't have. Well, how do you crowdsource that knowledge? How do you get your newer employees up and running? A great way is with this feed wall. Now, just like Amber said, we can celebrate anniversaries and birthdays, and this is probably one of my favorite ones. I remember everybody wishing somebody a happy birthday through email, and then it was reply all, reply all, reply all. And I keep a very tight and neat email system. So that kind of got on my nerves when everybody hit reply all instead of just happy birthday to the one person. So here, the system's going to automatically send them a happy anniversary, happy birthday, but now we can come in and post. Just like you do on social media, you have the main post and then everybody comments below, and it keeps your email nice and clean. Now, there are other things we can do out here. We can post, we can do things like update a status, ask for help, share knowledge, share an ideal, or publicly praise. And what you're going to see is a point value above all of these. This is because as the employer, you get to define what the point value is and really drive the type of conversation you want to see among your employees. Internally, we get 0 points for updating statuses, but we always get points for asking for help, and we get points for helping others. So that's what our HR department has decided is most important for them, is they want to see us asking questions and helping. And, just a real life scenario, this personally did happen to me. I did a demonstration and somebody asked me about a tax that I wasn't familiar with in another state. So it was a Friday afternoon. I got out on our share and perform part of the solution. I asked my question, went and got a drink of water, and I come back. It's Friday afternoon. I'm shutting the computer down and going, to have a little fun. But I'd already had 3 replies back to my question just that fast. I had it from our implementation team and 2 people from our customer service team. Our tax department didn't even get to weigh in because, hey, the implementation and the customer service team, these are things they'd already known about and dealt with other clients. So they were able to get my response back to me very quickly. So instead of shutting my computer down, I actually sat down and wrote a response back to my salesperson. So again, it's just that crowdsourcing of that knowledge. How can we get people talking? This is a great tool to do that. Now, there's also the ability to form groups within the solution. So you'll see here that I have the Coffee Addicts group. If you want to talk about coffee, come join my Coffee Addicts group. I'll talk about coffee all day long. One of the things, we are a nationwide. So one of the great things is we do have a gardening group. I'm not smart enough to be in the gardening group. I just want you to know. But that's a really fun group because people get in there and they talk about harvesting seeds and when they're planting and what the weather's looking like and what are we doing to prevent the frost. It's a great way to get your employees communicating. And what happens is when we get communicating on a personal level, and then there's a little bit of stress in the job, I'm going to deal with somebody that I know that has common interest with me differently than a complete stranger. So it really builds that team morality. Now, we also have this closed committee. So you can open groups, close groups. In the closed group, what we did is we were looking at a new general ledger. So we got out here and we made some statuses. So we do have one for Sage, one for QuickBooks, and one for NetSuite. And then after each demonstration, anybody on this committee who attended the demonstration was able to get out here, share some comments. What did they like? What didn't they like? What were deal breakers? Now, when I go to make that decision as a committee, all of our information is in one single spot. It's organized automatically for us, and we can make the best strategic decision for our company. All right. The other thing I want to show you, and this is just me personally, there is a note section here. And how I personally use the note section, I don't know about you guys, but I'm horrible at performance reviews. They always make me talk about myself, and I'm not very good at it. So what I like to do is I like to come out here every time I get an email from somebody thanking me that I did a good job or something, saying something nice about me. I'll actually attach my notes here. I'll copy the email. And then when performance reviews come around, I just pretty much write my performance review with emails that people have sent me. I've actually mastered performance reviews doing this, and I am somebody who is challenged. I'll talk about iSolved all day long. Talking about myself is a little different. So there's lots of little things in the solution. Now, maybe you're doing surveys with your employees, and you might have been doing something like a Survey Monkey. Survey Monkey is a great tool, but that's another username and password that you have to maintain, right? Well, within iSolved, you can send out surveys. Your employees will get emails and they can come right in here and take their survey. What I love about this is Mark here, and he is a supervisor. So we let our supervisors send out surveys. So on this survey, he sent it out to 3 people, 2 people completed it. And this is a lunch and learn that he does every quarter. So he sent it out and he's able to come out here and look at the responses he got. What did people like? What didn't they like? You can have yes, no questions. You can have fill in the blank. You can even just have do you agree with this or that? Now, Mark is my typical supervisor. He likes to send out the same survey over and over. So he actually gets to start stacking his results, because this time he sent it out to 4 people, 3 people completed it. And this time everybody thought that survey was right on the button. So what did Mark change from one survey to the next? What can he adjust to make these effective lunch and learns? It's all about getting that data. And in fact, you can actually export this data aggregated or individual. You can also choose, as the person sending out the reviews, whether these responses are coming back anonymous or with their names. So just another great feature. Now let's jump down here to feedback. And feedback, I think, can be some days hard to give, but it's also hard to receive. So within the solution, we do want to give your supervisors, managers tools where they can come out here. They're just going to maybe start typing a name and they're going to give some feedback. But now let's categorize this. Is this a good work, development opportunity, or attention required? Anytime we talk about development opportunity or attention required, That can be some hard feedback to be received. So if we choose that, let's categorize this. What are we saying that we need you to develop? Because it's not about your whole job. It's a specific thing we're trying to address. And it does come with some set categories, but as the employer, you can create your own categories to really create this around your company culture and the things you're asking your employees to do. So just think about that great way of giving them that constructive feedback and an employee being able to receive it. There's tools in here where the employees can acknowledge they received it and they can respond back as well. All right, now let's come down here to our performance. And under the performance part of the solution is that goal setting that we talked about, Amber was talking about. And the nice thing here is you can set goals at an organizational level and then cascade them down to different departments or business units. And then those can be cascaded down to employees. So as an employee, as I'm coming in here and checking in on my goal, I'm actually seeing where my job actually helps the company achieve their company goals. I matter, my job matters. And that's a real part of ownership for these employees. Now, you can have basic performance reviews. So we're going to come in here, we're going to check in, we'll move the number, we'll hit submit, and that moves the bar. We also have goals here with key results. So to achieve this goal, I need to see these key results, and these key results here can actually be weighted, which are moving the bar across the top, and you can check in per key results. So really giving that dynamic performance reviews. And the nice thing here are goals tracking. The nice thing here is not only can Mark come in here and see his goals, now he can see his team's goals. Who is he responsible for? How many goals do they have? Let's look at Benjamin. Benjamin's got 4 goals, and it looks like he's a little bit behind on that technician SOP guide. So now Mark knows how to mentor Jason to get Jason where he needs him to be by the end of the year. It's all about giving visibility and then encouraging those conversations, right? We don't want to have a once a year conversation. We want to keep up on this regularly. Now, under the performance reviews, we do want to go to the organizational dashboard. Some of you might be in here thinking performance reviews are overwhelming. I never know where everybody's at, and I have to run multiple reports. With iSolve, we're going to go ahead and give you a dashboard so you can see all of your employees. Have they been assigned a performance review? Now, performance reviews can be auto-assigned or they can be manually assigned. It's up to you. Where's everybody at? Have we signed off? Have we not started our performance review? Maybe we're in process because the employee did what I said to do, but we're still waiting for Mark to catch up. Not that that ever happens, but again, giving you the visibility so you know who to talk to get the job done. Now let's dig into a performance review. We're going to come in here to Adam. And I think everybody here really wants to get that dynamic performance review, right? That's the end goal, get a dynamic performance review. And if you're a supervisor or manager, by the time you get to your 3rd or 4th performance review, it's kind of hard. So what we want to do is we want to reset our minds. We're going to drop down to this black bar here. And the first thing it pulls up are those job responsibilities and requirements that you saw in the job tab. And then here are the competencies we look at for this job. So again, just by moving my employee from job to job, the system's keeping up with their performance reviews. We're going to be able to see any goals and any feedback. I always tell everybody, I'm a pretty good employee. Once in a while I mess up, but I like the good work there too, to remind my supervisor of all the good stuff I do, not just the one time I mess up. We're going to see any notes. And again, for me, this was invaluable because I was able to copy and paste notes that I got from my clients so that my employer knew, my supervisor knew not only what I think about myself, but what my clients are saying. It was a great performance review this year. And then any past reviews would be right here, but then 360 feedback. Now, I know a lot of systems have 360 feedback. My experience with that is that you had to leave the performance review you were in, go to another part of the solution and run a report. And that's not really effective, right? We're not going to get our supervisors going in and out of performance reviews, but this is all at their fingertips. They simply click on the review. They're going to expand all, and now they're able to they're going to be able to read the responses they received. And these responses can actually be peer-to-peer, or they can be external. If you have employees who work with external clients, you can now send out a feedback and get feedback from your external clients on how your employees are doing. Now, as I close this and I bring this back down, When I'm looking at this performance review, I'm now concentrating on Adam. I'm not thinking about the last one I did. We're going to start off with a rating scale here. You can have a rating scale of 1 to 5, or you can have 1 to 25. You can have numbers or letters. It's really up to you. On this performance review, we started off with core competencies. We had the employee complete a self-review the 1st through the 15th of the month, the 16th through the end, or 1st through the 15th of the month, the 16th through the end of the month. The supervisor went in and did their part of the performance review, but they're able to see what the employee gave themselves. And then up here, you'll see there is an overall rating and what the difference is within this box. My next section is those job specific competencies. And then we even pulled in the goals. We're allowing the supervisors and the employees to have overall comments. And then there's a section, it's called potential. And this is a list of 10 questions that's built into the system. And I always draw everybody's attention to this question. Does the employee demonstrate an ability to comfortably interact with people at a higher level or different area? Now, to be honest with you, I've been with our company now for over 15 years. When I first started, that was an absolute no. Had you put me in a position like this, I'd have failed miserably. I was always the out of the box thinker, finding a way to do things better. But to be able to stand up and tell people about that was not something I was capable of. Now, obviously, over the years, I've overcome that little flaw, and they can't get me to quit talking, which is how I landed here. But if you've ever promoted somebody and you're like, oh, that's not going the way I thought it would go, could be some key characteristics that we need to build up in our employees so that they are promotable. And when we promote them, they're successful, because that's what we want for our employees. A successful employee is going to be easy to retain. Now, maybe there's a development plan you want to work with Mark or Adam to get him to the next level. You can even start attaching training courses. So this is giving Mark that whole capability of coming in here, and really effectively doing a performance review for his employees. If I come back to the top, we do have that 9-box functionality. Up and down are those 10 questions. Right to left is the rest of the performance review. So before your supervisors ever submit their performance reviews, they can actually see where they have that employee in the 9-box. Am I accurately describing this employee? Because not everybody is going to be a rock star, but not everybody is going to be the worst employee in the world either. So just giving your supervisors, managers, those tools that they need. Now, we're going to come back here, and I do want to go back to this organizational dashboard one more time, because one of the questions we get is, what's the reporting like? And I think sometimes with performance reviews, reporting is subjective, right? You all have your own competencies. Although we have a library of competencies, you can create your own competencies. So then how would we run reports on that? The key with iSoft is every area of this part of the performance review are exportable. Maybe I want to pull all of these job competencies through the whole company. Maybe I just want to pull some of the competencies for one manager, see how this manager is rating them. And I can export those into an Excel spreadsheet, so I can sit there on one screen and look and read and digest this information. I'm not going through a bunch of PDFs and making my notes on paper. I can work with this in an Excel spreadsheet. Now, there are a few reports built into the system. And just to be completely transparent with all of you, if I hit the lottery tonight, I'm not going to be to work tomorrow. I will be back Monday to finish out my 2 weeks, but let's face it, I'm going to be down at the lottery office turning in my ticket. So if you have somebody come in and say, hey, John Doe hit the lottery, who do we have that can move into their place? You're able to come out here and see your 9-box. Let's look at these consistent stars, because if John Doe is the head of IT, we need to see if we have anybody with IT experience that can step into his place. And the great thing here is it is showing you what their current position is. So really helping you make those strategic decisions, giving you the visibility and the insight that you need. Now, last but not least, well, there's 2 more areas. I'm sorry, I was going to skip this one, but we did talk about the reward store. So let's talk about points in the system. As the employer, you can create all of the rules of how people get points and what they can do to earn them. And then we can create that reward store here where your employees can go in and spend their points. One of the best things for me this year, because I've been here for 15 years, I actually got to come out here because I got a lot of points and I spent my money, and I got little jumper cables for my car. It was a little cute box that I've been thinking about buying, and I got it free. Plus I got some company swag just because of how many points my company gave me. And it was fun to go shopping on my anniversary and not spend any money. I had a blast this year. Now, last but not least, we do have the organizational, we do have the org charts. And just a quick story about me. Back when I first started at the company, I remember I had a question and they're like, oh, just go see, Adam on the 3rd floor. And I'm like, what? The building was 3 stories. I was brand new and I didn't know who Adam was. So I had to get in my Outlook and find out what his office number was. When I found out what his office number was, then I had to go find a PDF of the building and find out where that office number was. Then I went upstairs and hoped that he was in his office, because if he wasn't in his office, I didn't know what I was going to do. But, with Share and Perform, I can actually come out here, find Adam, because it's going to be by his first name. I can see things like his location, his job title, who's his supervisor. I can even see things like his special interest, so I know how to break the ice. And then I can see not only Adam, but I can see who Adam reports to, who is actually Mark. Now, if I click into Mark, I'm going to see Mark's job title, and then I can see Mark's team, who reports to Mark, who is Mark's supervisor, and if he has any secondary reports or managers. And I think this is really powerful. Again, what Share and Perform does is it just crowdsources all that knowledge and brings people together to communicate, but also give those dynamic performance reviews. So I really hope you enjoyed this presentation today. Are there any questions in the chat? I do apologize, I can't see the chat. I talk so much, I never pay attention to the chat. Amber, do we have any questions?
You're totally fine. At this point, no, I do not see any questions in the chat. So I would say you did a pretty fantastic job.
Thank you.
Going through if we don't have any questions. So at this point, I will tell everybody, thank you so much for joining our webinar today on Share and Perform. If you do have any questions, please make sure that you are reaching out to CTR. Otherwise, we will see you guys all next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.